Welcome. My name is Greg Mannix. I'm VP of Business Development for International and General Manager for Europe here at Life Science Nation. And I've been with Life Science Nation for almost 6 years now and have helped a lot of companies navigate the partnering platform to get the most out of it and to get the most meetings. And that's what we'll be looking at today. The partnering platform we're going to look at is a really, really powerful tool that can help you tremendously in identifying partners that you need to meet with and giving you the tools to reach out and to represent your company in different ways. And if you use this tool correctly and put the effort in, you'll really have a productive conference next week and at any future Resi conference that you attend. I'll try to show you how to navigate this platform in a way that you can really identify which are the investors, strategic partners, et cetera, that you want to reach, that you need to reach out to, and how to do that in the most effective way and get as many meetings as possible over the 3 days the conference lasts. So you should have received, I'm sure you all received the login credentials in an email. The new system is just a link. It's actually a token. It logs you directly in. You don't need a password, and it will remember your computer. If at any time you want to work from a different computer or you have any issues, reach out to resi@lifesciencenation.com. and we will fix that for you. And you can see here, right on the platform, is the email address to reach out to us, and we can create a password for you so you can log in from multiple devices if you need to. The first thing you'll want to do when you log on is create a profile for your company and for yourself. This is really important because investors, strategic partners, service providers, people will want to understand more about your company. And this is where you can fill in information that is interesting and important for people to understand about your company. So click on the account tab, go to edit and the name of your company. And then you will see different fields to fill in, and you'll have the option to upload a logo, which I highly recommend. And also to upload 2 documents, okay? You can upload up to 2 documents. We recommend that you upload a non-confidential short investor deck. That's 10 to 12 slides that represent your company, and an executive summary or a 1-page data sheet or tear sheet, I think are good documents to upload there. Also, you'll see edit and your name. And you can go there and you can put in a short bio for yourself. You can upload a photo, which I think is also a nice touch for people to understand, to be able to see who they're going to meet with and know a little bit more about that person. So create a profile for your company and for yourself with all the information that's relevant for investors, strategic partners, et cetera, to understand your company. If you haven't already done so, go to schedule. And the first thing you want to do is manage your availability, because this conference is running, the partnering is running for 24 hours a day over 3 days. So you don't want to have a meeting booked in the middle of the night in your time zone, because you will have investors and other partners calling in and participating from around the world. So there are Asian investors and partners, European, North American, of course, East Coast, West Coast. So you definitely want to go through and manage your availability. The time you see in black at the top here, this is the conference time, which is Eastern Time, USA, Boston, New York. So 12:30 a.m. on November the 16th is when the partnering will open. And if you're on the East Coast, you probably don't want to take meetings at, in the middle of the night. So you can make your time slots available or unavailable just by clicking. So that's really easy. Do that for all 3 days if you're registered for all 3 days, okay? Then you will want to take a look at the amazing sessions that are going on. Sessions can be panels, investor panels, and themed panels relating to business development and fundraising. So here's an oncology innovation panel, an AI-assisted remote care panel, MedTech strategics panel. You get the idea. Lots of different types of panels. Tales from the Road is a panel with entrepreneurs. So please go through and have a look at these panels. If you want to know more about the panel, click on any panel. It opens up and you can see who the panelists are. And if you decide, yeah, this is a panel that I would definitely like to check out, you can click on, so I already have it on my schedule. You can remove it from your schedule or you can add it to your schedule. And it will automatically log here to your schedule and you won't get meetings overlapping, okay? So go through and decide which panels are the best for you. I highly recommend that you take advantage over the 3 days of the panels that will help you in your fundraising process. So there are really good workshop panels on things like term sheets, licensing, banking. There are a few, there's several workshops that are really interesting. There are also investor panels that are extremely insightful. So if you're developing a medical device or a therapeutic and or in a specific area, there are panels with expert investors and strategic partners talking about those spaces. And there's really good information there. Now, one thing you should know is that all of the panels are recorded. So if you're not able to attend one of the panels, you will have access to the recording of that panel for 3 weeks after the conference is finished. So you will be able to go back and take advantage of any of the panels that you weren't able to see live. The advantage of seeing them live is that there's always the opportunity for Q&A and interacting with the panelists. And it's interesting, we've seen over the past 18 months that the live streaming format is by far more popular than the pre-recorded format that we did for our first couple of digital conferences. So people like the live streaming format better, and the opportunity to correspond, to interact and ask questions is a really nice touch. Okay, so we went through some of the basics of getting set up on the partnering platform. Now the important thing is to reach out to all of those people that you want to meet with and try to get meetings booked over the 3 days that the conference lasts. So for that, you'll go to the search tab and you'll be able to see all of the different firms that are registered so far and in the platform, but you can narrow that down. And this is something that you'll find is really, really useful on the Resi partnering platform that you really don't have available at other conferences. And what we try to do here is make you as efficient as possible. So you don't have to be looking at all of the investors who are registered, because there are over 350 or over close to 350 registered. You don't have to be reading through all of those investor profiles to figure out which ones are fit for you. We help you narrow it down. So you want to click on investors. And then you can select your own main sector. Are you developing a drug or a diagnostic technology or healthcare IT? This would be digital health as well, or a medical device or medical technology. So here you can click, let's say medical technology. So now we've narrowed it down to a smaller number of investors who invest in medical technology. You can put in the indication, let's say musculoskeletal system, for example. Now we're down to 121 potential investors. then you can narrow it down by stage of development. So you have biotech phase of development. This is for drugs and only for drugs, okay? Or if you're developing a medical device or a diagnostic technique, you would go here and you can say, well, I am in development. I'm an early stage company. So now we're down to 93 potential investors. So, we've already weeded out a good number, several dozen investors who are absolutely not a fit for this company. And by doing that, we're saving you time and, hopefully allowing you to focus on the investors who are a fit for you. So you can scroll through and I have, so when for each investor, you're able to read a little bit about them by clicking here, Alira Health Ventures, for example. You get some really good information in this paragraph. Okay, so this is an introduction paragraph about the company, about the investment firm, and then you can see the different filters that they have defined for themselves. So you can see here, if this is a fit for you, they invest in seed stage. This is a very early stage investor, and you say, okay, yeah, this is a fit for me. This is the person who's attending. I'm going to book a meeting with this investor. And you have two choices. You can book a meeting or you can send a message. I really don't recommend sending a message if you're interested in having a meeting, because it would add an additional step to getting that meeting booked. If you think this investor is potentially a fit for you, click directly on the blue tab, book a meeting. Okay, so I'm clicking here. It takes me to this dialog box where I will put in a message to the investor explaining, what my company does in a few sentences, why I want to meet with them, and explaining some of the important information. So I'm going to switch over real quick to a presentation about this. So I just want to mention the importance of your outbound meeting requests. And we think that all of these elements are important to be in that message. Introduce yourself and introduce your company well. Explain a little bit about, what market you're addressing, what indication or unmet medical need you're addressing. And very importantly, the key value proposition, your elevator pitch in a paragraph, few sentences. What stage of fundraising you're in, and request that meeting. And you can even customize the message for the investors who are your top targets. That's always a good thing to do. And there is a meeting request example in this presentation. And I'm happy to send these slides to you afterwards. But this just gives you an idea. I mean, you don't have to read the message now, but it gives you an idea of the length of a powerful and effective meeting request message and the kind of information that you can include. So this is an example. Please take a look at it. I will send this around, and really think about writing a compelling outbound meeting request, because that is the first communication that investors will be receiving from you, and it will help them decide if you're a fit and if they want to look into your company a little bit further and take a meeting with you. So going back to the partnering, you put in your message and you send, it says, are you sure you want to request this meeting? And you just say yes, and that goes out. It goes to the investor's inbox here in the platform and also to their email. So they will see your message, and scroll through. You will see a lot of information here in the description And you'll see that some of them are clearly not a fit for you. If that's the case, I recommend that you bookmark that investor and say, not a fit. And the reason I recommend doing this is because there are, I mean, you already saw, we're looking at 90 plus investors, and there will be more registering between now and the next, and when the conference starts. So when you go back through the platform, you'll clearly be able to see which investors you've already requested a meeting with, and you'll be able to see any response from the investors, like if they accepted a meeting or declined the meeting, you'll be able to see that. It'll be clearly labeled here under, actually right above the name of the particular investor that you're trying to meet with. You'll be able to see that. But if you read through this and decide that that investor is not a fit for you, maybe they don't invest in your neck of the woods, your part of the world, just put in not a fit. So when you go through this platform in the future, you don't have to remember that you already looked at that investor and determined it wasn't a fit. So this will help you as you go through this again and again. Okay. I'm going to stop for just a second. It looks like, okay. So how can, there's a question, how can I filter for those who invest in my country? For example, those who invest in Israel. So we can't actually do that on the platform. But as you read through, you'll be able, for each of the investors in here, you will be able to see where the investor invests. So Apogee Ventures will consider global opportunities, but focuses on USA and Europe-based companies. So if you're based in Israel, I would definitely reach out to this investor, because they will invest globally and they invest in Europe as well. So, you know, very, I would say this would definitely be a target. Unfortunately, we can't filter. It's not like the LSN investor database where you can filter for geographic exposure. Here you do have to read through, okay? I believe there was another question. Oh, I think we got it. Okay, good. Okay, so you go through all of these investors and you determine which ones are a fit for you. You start sending out your meeting requests. When you send a meeting request, you'll be able to clearly see that you've requested a meeting with this investor. And you won't get any response from some of the investors, from a lot of the investors actually. You won't get an immediate response. So what do you do then? So let me go back to the presentation briefly. And let me show you that, first of all, you need to request a lot of meetings to get a lot of meetings. We saw that there were potentially 90 plus investors for that particular example that I put up for a medical device company. And it's important to reach out to all of the ones that are potentially a fit. And you can see here that companies that got upwards of 20 meetings, and it's not uncommon to get 20 meetings over the 3 days. It's not uncommon. It's not easy. I didn't say it was easy. It's not uncommon. And the reason it's not uncommon is because people put a lot of effort into this and they see the results. So to get upwards of 20 meetings, those people requested 100 meetings. And the people who requested a dozen meetings maybe got 1 or 2. So it's not, even though you see a dozen investors who you really want to meet with, it's not enough to only reach out to those. You have to reach out to many more investors who might be potentially a fit for you to get, you know, a decent number of meetings, you know, a really great number of meetings going into next week. But as I mentioned, you will reach out to many investors and you'll send them this well thought investor meeting request message, but many of them won't respond. So we have exactly a week to go leading up to the conference. And if you do not hear back, between now and next Tuesday, and you haven't started following up yet, I would recommend that you follow up 3 to 4 times leading up to the conference. It really will make a difference. So when I talk about following up, here you will use the send a message tab. So as you scroll through the investors in your search each day, and I recommend that you go back at least once a day to check your inbox, the meetings you have booked, see what's going on in your partnering. As you go through, you'll see, particular investors have not responded at all. So in your first follow-up to those investors who haven't responded, give a little bit of additional information about your technology, for example. So you can say, in your first follow-up, I requested a meeting with you, and I really would love to tell you more about our technology, which is unique because ... whatever. After a few more days, if you still haven't heard back from that investor, send a second follow-up message and talk about the market that you're addressing and how important it is, or the unmet need that is so important that your technology is addressing. In your third follow-up, you can focus on your management team. You know how important that is to potential investors, right? They want to know more about the team behind the project. In your fourth follow-up, you can send a link to one of those documents that you uploaded to your profile. Excuse me. So when you upload those documents to your profile, it automatically creates a link to that document, and you can use that link and paste it into your message. Okay, so you go to your profile, go to the document that you uploaded, you click on it, it opens in a separate tab, and you can use that link to share that with the investor. And by doing that, you're giving the investor the opportunity to just click on the link. Actually, they have to copy and paste. It's not an active link. They have to copy and paste, and they can directly see your deck or your one-page data sheet or tear sheet or your executive summary or whatever it is you want them to see. So between now and next Tuesday, all of those investors who haven't responded to you, be sure to send follow-up messages through the platform. And by doing that, I mean, say this is the investor that you're trying to meet with, and there are 2 people attending from this investment firm. This person has not responded, neither of them have responded. Click on send a message, and it opens up the dialog box, and that's where you can put in the additional information that you didn't include in your first message. And hopefully when they see you reaching out several times, they will take the time to have a look at your company and decide if they want to. Okay, so when you click on send a message, I always recommend that you put as a title in the message. In the initial meeting request, you don't have to put anything because it's automatic that you're requesting a meeting. But when you send a message, you can put in second request, so that the investor, when they see the message, they know that this is your second message to them. They'll already know that, okay? And then you put in that message with the content that you think is most compelling. Sometimes I get asked, if you see 2 different people attending from a particular investment firm, which one do I reach out to? And unless you know otherwise, reach out to both. Reach out to all of them, because you're not sure who the right person is to reach out to. You don't know whether this person is particularly versed in medical devices and this person is more versed in drugs. You don't know that. So reach out to both. If you think that this investor is a fit after you read through this information, then you definitely want to reach out to both, okay? Let's see, we have another question. Yes, I will share both the slides and a recording of this webinar will be posted to the resiconference.com website later today. Okay. Okay. So now you've created your profile. You've sent out all of your meeting requests. You're following up with the investors who haven't responded. Your schedule is filling up with content and with meetings, and you're doing really great. There is and some of you already have this, so I want to explain how it works. There is an upgrade available called Premier Partnering, and for each investor here, you will see this, this option to click on Premier Mandates, okay? So if you have the upgrade and you click here, it takes you to a separate page and it gives you this additional information about the investor and the types of technologies and the requirements that they have for companies. And very importantly, down here at the bottom, for those 2 attendees, you have their email contact information, okay? So this is a really great upgrade to help you continue interacting with the investors after the conference is over. As I mentioned, there are over 300 investors already registered. I think there will be probably around 350 by next week. And of course, you won't be able to meet with all of the investors who are fit for you in those 3 days that the conference lasts. So, you know, the Premier Partnering upgrade is an option that you might want to think about, okay? And, you know, you'll have all this information for all of the investors who are attending and their email contacts. Now, as I mentioned, it's good to go back through this platform every day, if possible, and keep an eye on any new investors who have arrived. So how do you know which are the latest investors to register? There's a trick here that will be very useful for you as you go back, you know, day after day to look at your partnering, where instead of ordering your investors alphabetically, you can order them by date approved, which just means date registered. So now you can see an investor who registered recently, and if you don't see that you've requested a meeting or bookmarked this investor as not a fit, then it's probably a new investor who you haven't looked at yet. And that's why I recommend that it's good to bookmark those investors who you clearly see are not a fit. And the ones that you do request a meeting with, you'll be able to clearly see that. Because there will be a bar right here that's blue in color and it says, you requested a meeting with da, 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 okay? And if they decline the meeting, there will be a second gray bar saying meeting declined. So you'll know what's going on. When you go through this day after day and you see that there are investors who meet your criteria and there's nothing there, there's no bookmark and no meeting request, then you know you probably haven't looked at that investor yet. So, you know, after the first couple of days, I would order by date approved, and then you can see in order of latest registrants, which ones you need to look at. Okay. And then each day when you log on, you will be here on the home page. And the home page will give you a dashboard of, you know, how many people have requested a meeting with you that you haven't responded to, how many meeting requests have you sent out that are waiting for a response. And what's really encouraging is to see this number going up, okay? Meetings confirmed. Every day you should see, you know, some progress there. Okay, and if you have any new messages, you'll also be able to see that. And in the messaging section, it's just like an email where you have your inbox and your sent messages. Okay, so I think we've covered everything. This is a powerful platform. You will be able to have a really productive conference next week, I hope. And here at the Resi conference, we are here to support you. So feel free to reach out to us, and I will send the slides and where to find the recording of this webinar to all of you after we finish today. There's a question about the cost of the premium upgrade. It's $500 US, and you can upgrade anytime. You don't have to upgrade before the conference. You can upgrade during the conference if you just want to have that information to keep. It's a great way to start your Rolodex of investors. And as you saw, the investors who attend Resi are global investors from literally all around the world who are looking for early stage investment opportunities. And I think that's what makes the Resi conference unique, because we are focused on early stage, and the investors who come are really actively looking for investment opportunities in early stage companies. So that that database of 300 investors, 300 plus investors, is really worthwhile. And you have access to all of this partnering platform for 3 weeks after the conference. So you won't be able to meet with all of the investors you would like to over the 3 days of the conference. It's impossible. But you will be able to continue interacting with the investors using the send a message function, or if you have the premium upgrade by email, you'll be able to correspond with the investors. So if you are interested in upgrading, just write to us at resi@lifesciencenation.com, and we will be happy to get you set up. Great. Let me see if I've covered all of the questions. Okay, very good question from Anton. So how do you show your presentation during your meeting on the meeting screen? So I didn't go over that because I actually don't have any meetings booked right now to show you how it works. But if you go to the schedule tab, and there is a tutorial on this that you'll be able to see. And say you have a meeting scheduled at this time, you'll see a blue box like this. This is actually a panel, it's not a meeting, but it will look like this. You'll be able to see who you're meeting with, and there's a link that says confirmed update. And it's the only link here. You click on that link, and it opens a black box, which will be your meeting screen. It's your video conferencing embedded within the schedule, where you will meet with your counterpart when the time comes. So you will have the option to start the meeting or join the meeting, and then you have an option to share your screen. And there are some other options like making your presentation full screen, or there are also options to add one of your colleagues to the meeting, to reschedule the meeting if you need to. So any of the meetings that you have scheduled, if you need to reschedule, you go to that meeting and you click on the link and you'll see the different options. You can reschedule, you can add a colleague, you can transfer the meeting from yourself to another colleague who's attending the conference. Has to be from the same company though. Okay, so if you have more than one person registered. The use of the share your screen function is very similar to Zoom or GoToMeeting or Teams or any other platform. It's very similar. Okay, and just so you know, I'm going back to the home page here. There is a Partnering 101 guide for using. I'll just show you how it works. It's just a PDF document. It's not opening in my case. It's a PDF document that explains the functionality of here it is. So it explains the functionality of the partnering platform, and also, as you'll see down here, This is what your actual meeting screen will look like. So once you click on that link for any of your meetings, it will open up. You'll only see this, well, you'll only want to start it when it's actually the time to start the meeting, because that's when your counterpart will be there. You can add colleagues, you can reassign it, you can reschedule, or you can change meeting point, not really relevant for a digital conference because all of the meetings are online. You can do all of those things. Once you start the meeting, you'll see the option to share your screen, and you can manage the size of the screen that you're dealing with.